Hey, welcome to my first DIY. Today we're going to be making these yarn bobble hats. Why? Because we're going to make some Christmas garland. So this will be part one of 2 videos. Let's get started. So I got most of my materials from the dollar store, or half off from Hobby Lobby, or just laying around the house. Yes, I like expensive things, but I'm on a budget right now. So this is everything you're going to need for the entire project. The materials are listed below. But for now, all you need is yarn, tape, scissors, and this old paper towel roll that I'm going to cut. So I'm making the base of the hat. I smushed this one piece of the paper towel roll and I'm cutting in between. One paper towel roll should make 10 rings, but it depends on how big you cut these rings. I'm doing about 1 centimeter. So just like that. Here's an example of what they should look like. So while I'm looking at this, I feel like this is kind of too big for me. I'm going to trim them down just a little bit. I'm going to use some painter's tape since that's the only thing I have. I don't think it really matters what kind of tape you use. Anyways, you don't really have to do this part. I just wanted to make a smaller hat. I made this about 1 inch. Also, if you're going to make a light colored hat, you might want to use a clearer tape so it doesn't show through. The ring doesn't have to be perfect. Now it's time for yarn. I'm not gonna lie, I was super surprised they had this at the dollar store and they had a bunch of different colors. I'm gonna use my white yarn and I'm also gonna grab this paint card sample I had laying around the house. You could totally skip this part if you want. I wouldn't because it's easier than cutting one piece of string 40 times. Also, you don't have to use a paint card. You can use anything you have around your house. Right here, I'm taking one end of the string and taping it down and I'm going to wrap it around longwise. This card is about 4 inches long, so my string should be 8 inches when I finally cut the pieces. Before then, I'm going to wrap this yarn about 40 times around this card. This part is super tedious. And depending on your cardboard ring, you might have to do this a couple more times. Okay, we finally made it to the end. So right here, I'm just going to grab my scissors and cut this one piece. I'm going to hold my card and I'm going to cut one end of the strings. I know it's my scissors are backwards, but you know what? Invest in sharper scissors. Okay, so moving forward, grab your yarn and your paper towel roll. Okay, so right here, I'm grabbing one piece of string and making sure it's equally folded in half. Taking the loop end, I'm going to put it through the circle. From there, I'm going to grab the ends that were cut and I'm going to put it through the loop. All you need to do now is just pull the strings through. Just a little tug right there. So let's do this one more time. Grab a piece of string, make sure it's folded in half equally, put the loop inside the hole, grab the cut ends, and pull it through. After that, you're just going to make sure your string ends are equal and nothing is overlapping. You also want to make sure that all the string ends are going the same direction. Here is what it should look like after you get all 35 or 40 pieces of string on this. Now that we have all this string in the same direction, we're going to fold it inside the circle just like this. Once you get all the strings through the hole, you want to make sure all the yarn is the same height. That's what I'm doing right there. You want to make sure all the yarn is pulled through so you can tie the end together. Right here, you're going to grab another piece of yarn that you are not using. I have no idea why I grabbed the smallest piece, but don't do this. Seriously, go grab a bigger piece of yarn. Anyways, you're just going to grab that piece of yarn, start from the base, and tie it around the gathered pieces of your hat. Also, if you have a different color piece of string, it might be easier to do this because you can actually see what's happening. Once I tied my string together, what I'm going to do is carefully slide this piece up the hat. This is really important because you still want to have all the strings together. If not, you're going to have to redo this whole part again. So here I am trying to double knot it and I completely screw it up. So this is why I suggest grabbing a bigger piece of string. Okay, so let's try it again with my tiny piece of string because clearly I haven't learned my lesson. Here I am tying my first knot around the hat. And yay, there comes my second knot. I'm just going to pull the strings tight. There we go. So here you can actually cut the strings to make it more like a pom-pom. I'm just going to leave mine just like this. I'm also just adjusting the bottom part of this because I like how it looks better when it's flat. Look at our little mini hat. Like I said, this is part 1 of part 2, so see you next week.